What is up guys, Bob back again with TechSource, and in this video we are going to be taking a look at Apple's iPad Air 2, the second generation one. Before we get into the cinematic unboxing, I wanted to go over a brief overview of the iPad Air second generation and answer some of the questions you guys might have, like is it really worth upgrading my perfectly fine iPad to get the second generation one? What benefits can I hope to see from getting the newest one? And hopefully I can answer some of those. So let's get to it. Alright guys, so the key differences between the iPad Air and the iPad Air 2 are speed, security, and camera quality. Let's dive in and see what the actual differences are. Let's start with security. The iPad Air 2 comes sporting Apple's Touch ID sensor, which if you didn't know is basically a fingerprint scanner. Now, this is definitely a welcome addition and takes away the pain of having to type in your passcode every time you want to use your iPad, and it even works with some apps like Amazon and allows you to validate your identity without having to log in. But this to me is not enough to get me to upgrade to the iPad Air 2. Now let's talk about the second main difference, speed. Now this is where Apple threw around some crazy numbers. They claim that with their new A8X chip, they can achieve more than double the graphics performance and 40% more CPU performance when compared to the first generation iPad Air's chip, the A7. Something else that comes bundled in the A8X chip motion tracking suite is a barometer, which is cool I guess. I mean, who really needs their tablet to be able to track their elevation? Seriously, just imagine seeing someone running with this thing so that it can track how many steps he climbed. But in all seriousness, I guess a barometer could be useful if some developers start making games and apps that can take advantage of the sensor. But for now, the barometer in the iPad just seems like a gimmick. Now, we do not have an iPad Air first generation in the office, so we can't validate these numbers, but I'm sure there will be plenty of YouTubers and websites reporting on this. So if you're curious, just do a quick Google search and something's bound to pop up. And finally, the last major difference, the camera. Now, I personally do not know anyone who uses a tablet to take pictures, but I have seen people who do, so this could be important to some of you. The new iPad Air 2 comes with a 8 megapixel iSight camera, which is supposed to be a lot better than the 5 megapixel camera included on the first generation iPad Air. This megapixel jump plus some added features like burst mode and slow-mo video are pretty much the only upgrades to the camera on the iPad Air 2. And again, we do not have a first generation iPad Air in-house, so we cannot compare image quality between the two. But hey, if you are interested in some iPad Air 2 camera tests, let us know and we will be sure to get on it. Of course, it wouldn't be an Apple product if they didn't make it thinner, and they did by 1.4 millimeters. But of course, by doing this, they cut the battery size and sacrificed in battery life. So should you buy or upgrade to the iPad Air 2? And the answer is it depends. If you don't have an iPad currently and would like to have one, then the iPad Air 2 is a great place to start. But on the other hand, in that same situation, you could go to eBay and get the iPad Air 1, which is probably much less and you can save some cash. And in my opinion, if you already have the first generation iPad Air, you shouldn't go out and buy the second generation iPad Air. Unless you need to have the latest and greatest in technology, there is really no benefit in going out and giving extra cash for the iPad Air 2. And to those of you who have pre-iPad Air iPads, basically the older generations, I would give the same advice as I did in scenario 1, which is go for it. I mean, if you don't really need the new features, you might as well get the iPad Air first generation for much cheaper and save some cash. But I mean, if you have the extra money, you don't really care, I mean, I don't see why you couldn't go with the second generation. But yeah, that's what I think. Alright guys, so without any more hesitation, let's get to the cinematic unboxing.